How's it going, guys? Mags here. In today's video, I would like to show you what goes in the background when I'm building out a sales dashboard for a client. Me and my team, we specialize in building out custom tracking systems for high ticket offers. So whether agency, service, coaching program, it doesn't really matter as long as you sell something high ticket and have a sales team in place. Every single business is different. Every single business uses different tools, has different process. And what we do is we come in, we look at the whole sales process and kind of what you use, right? And we connect it. So for example, if you use HubSpot as a CRM and Hyros to track marketing, what we can do is we can connect those two and create an alignment between marketing and sales, right? Then we talk to you and kind of build out a dashboard to help you make decisions off the rip when you log in, right? I know a lot of people, when they build out dashboards or statistics, they use Power BI or Google Looker Studio. We use Bubble.io mainly because, with these tools, you always hit the limit now or later, and we really build out, an internal tool to expand the functionality however you want. So that's why we use Bubble. So what are we going to build today? Every time, when I start looking at what I should build, I always kind of set the goal, right? What am I trying to accomplish? What do I want to see as metrics, right? And based off of that, I also, build out a database and stuff like that. But I just want to understand what I'm building. So I usually do a quick mock-up of the layout of the dashboard. Just I'm not stuck, okay, what should I do in this step? But let's say for this video, I would like to focus on a home dashboard, which would display, the financials, I guess, then main numbers, then marketing and sales, right? So in the first part, I would like to see, the revenue, cash collected, then a line graph representing trend. And then I would like to see, new leads, book calls, live calls, close deals. In terms of sales, let's say this business doesn't have setters, they only have closers. I would like to display that in a table, their performance, just off the rip, exactly how they're performing. And then I would like to include the main metrics such as show rate, offer to close rate. And in terms of marketing, let's say we would like to see how much we spent and what is the relationship with revenue and cash collected. Then we would want to see, what is the CPA, what is the ROAS on cash, ROAS on revenue. And lastly, probably, as we're tracking lead sources in this case, for example, I would like to see, what is the top performing lead source sorted by closed deals. So yeah, this is going to be, a tutorial of how I do it. So for those who actually built in Bubble, this is going to be, I believe, very beneficial. But for those who want to have their own dashboard, I think it's a good insight to have on how this actually works when you build something custom like this. So yeah, let's get straight into it. First things first, what do we have to do, right? So obviously you have a sidebar on the left-hand side. I'm not going to bother with that. I have another video showcasing how to build this. But what you're going to do is just, take a group. Let's remove the min width and fit with the consent. Same thing here. Let's align it to the top left corner. And let's do some margin, which would be the margin of this one, which would be 230 pixels, because we want to see, right? It has to start here. The padding, let's just set it to 32, 32, 32, 32, right? And just do the basic stuff at first. Just grab a text. It's home dashboard, I guess. Home dashboard. Let's set this to heading 5. Obviously, before, there's a lot of things when it goes to creating an application in Bubble. It doesn't really have to be a tracking system, right? You have to set your styles and colors and whatnot. So let me just quickly do this. This dashboard represents the businesses performance, something like that, right? Again, doesn't really matter, right? Boom. So let's actually group those two, put them in a container. Group heading, right? Let's remove them in width and fit height to content. So at the end of the video, I'm gonna create a filter, right? But the first things first. So what I was saying is that we want to display revenue as well as cash collected, and then have a graph, right? So let's just grab some text, and well, actually, why don't we do this? Let's just copy this text, the same style, right? Paste it in here. Let's just set this group's gap to 24 pixels so that it's not, close to each other. Let's just name this revenue. Let's grab this number. Let's just do what we're gonna do, and you're gonna see with a bunch of other graphs that I built, is that I'm gonna just put static values, right? In terms of the database structure, usually we look at appointments. If I want to track lead source performance specifically, I create a different data type. Same thing with closers, setters, right? But for now, let's just make a static value. So let's make this 180,400, right? Now, why do I, make this cut off like this? Is if you have a large number, it always has to be clear where you at, right? So like if you have 183,200, 100, whatever, like such a long number, you have to look at the dashboard and see, okay, this is where we at. Boom, continue on, right? So yeah, let's group those two. Column. Let's make the gap was 6, maybe 8. Copy paste. This is going to be cash collected. And probably let's make these two a bit smaller, right? Awesome. Let's cash collected in this case is going to be 98,700, right? Now let's take these two groups and group them together again. And what I would like to do here is create separation and fit width, right? Fit width, fit height, and just set the padding. Let's just 24, 24, 24, right? How does that look? Yeah, I would say just set the background so everything's gonna be black in this case. Something like this, right? Something like this. Maybe we're gonna change it in the future, but let's just leave it as is. So once you log in, the first thing you see is this, right? Then we need to create the graph, right? So a great plugin I use is where is it? Premium Charts. It's either it's like a subscription or like $160 for lifetime. So that's I use for graphs. Nice designs you can create. So yeah. So let's just actually take. Let me see, line chart. Let's put it below that. This is what this is actually. What is the height of this? 180, right? So let's just make this, maximum height of 180, right? Just delete the minimum width. Let's just this is going to be line chart, revenue versus cash. We'll probably make this bigger, right? So like this, it's going to be 186. Well, we'll see, because this is actually, the view is like 85% because I'm on MacBook, right? But we'll see how that looks, and then we can make adjustments, right? So revenue and cash. So let's say the first one is revenue. First one is revenue line, as well as line here. And what I want to do is just set static values, right? So give me a second here. So now we have just static values in terms of the x-axis. Well, it's a lot of revenue and cash collected, right? For just 7 days. Let's just do like weeks, right? So week 21 of the year, right? So week 21, week 22, week 23, right? So the next thing I want to do is obviously differentiate, right, on the graph what is what. So I believe in terms of the design, what we could do here as well is just like group cash collected and revenue into like a row. So let's just row and remove the fit with the content, and then just take another group. So in terms of design, right, actually let me find it here. Revenue, where's that? No, it's right here. All right, one mistake I've done so far is I did not name anything, but it's completely fine. I'm gonna do that later. Right, so just make it fixed width 12. Let's make it centered or vertical alignment, and roundness 100. You'll see why that makes sense. and then a background style is going to be like primary color, which is something I've set. Primary color here as well, and let's do boom, like this, right? Maybe if you wanted to make it a bit, nicer, modern, you could do like 0, 0, and then do like other number, right? Probably it's, hopefully you see it, but it's just like something different, right? So let me just copy this and again create another row. Let's just take care of this. Also, what would be the best way, I believe, is getting rid of the width here and probably changing the padding of the whole group to like 12, and maybe what, this is 165, so just do the minimum height of 200. Minimum height, minimum width 200. Let's do 170. And instead of just like push them apart, let's do just like 6, 6, right? And actually I want to make this a little bit smaller. So if we were to do 8 times 8, nice, that's much nicer, right? So just paste it in here and take from the chart, let's take the same color, paste it in there, same thing here. However, let's make this like this, and this is going to be, what do we do here, 6, right? So 6, 6, and also just change it back to 8 and 8, right? So this is going to display, these two colors are going to display the colors in the graph, right? So what I would like to do is group these two, right? So when you're building out, statistics or metrics you want to see, it's always good to group, related metrics, right? So at the top, as I was saying, we have revenue, cash collected, and it'd be nice to, if you want to see a graph, something related to it, right? And on the right-hand side, we're gonna have like new lead, etc., etc. Kind of give you, I guess, relation of what's happening with that specific metric, right? So let's take the graph, let's take this and group them in a row, right? So by default, there's gonna be a lot of stuff there. Just do this, and yeah, I gotta name this. So let's just name this group left revenue versus cash. Now we have the line chart. The line chart just has to be like this, right? Remove the min, the max height, and let's just name this to revenue versus cash collected overall metric, right? Now this is, so how big is this? This is 795 pixels. Just make this like 600. That's too little. 800. Yeah, it's gonna do. It's gonna do. But you can see like it's not as big. What we're gonna do probably is make it bigger, right? So like set the minimum height quite bigger, right? But let's just actually look at what's going on if we were to reload this page. So by default this is visible, so that's good. Let's do just like nav home dashboard, just name this. And if I was to reload, this is what we have. This is obviously very ugly. But let's actually make changes, right? So honestly, I'm gonna just play around with it. Paddington. So I believe I been able to kind of design it to my liking. If you're following along, this is the setup, right? So we have the static values. Just scroll down. So we don't show the legend. There's no tooltip. You could create one. Chart padding 10,000 separators. Show tick labels, yes. Just follow along, right? This. We don't show data labels. There's a vertical offset. Font color, this is this. Font size, actually, this is for data labels. Let's do like 10 instead of 12. And line width, point radius, because as you saw, like it was big. So just wanted to make sure it's small. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So if I was to look at like revenue and cash collected, let's actually set background style, which would be black in this case. And overall, let's just make it round. Right, this whole thing should be round. Right, and actually remove this. Right, and I believe let's actually try this. Let's just remove the padding, which is, I normally do it at the beginning just to get the padding so it's not like next to each other. But in this case, no, let's actually leave it there. Sorry, let's leave it there. And if we were to check again, this is what that's gonna look like. Right, something like this. And as you can see, it's very close to it, right? So what I'm gonna do is what I was saying. So let's remove the padding here. Let's do 0, 0. And this whole revenue cash collect is gonna have 12 and 12, right? As well as, well, everywhere. Let's do that everywhere. And remove it right here, 0, 0. Right? And let's make this, instead of 32, let's make this just like that. Good. So if I look at it right now, I believe it's much better, right? Again, you can play around with it. You can, create custom tooltips. You can make this a little bit lighter, right? It really depends how you want to see it. But in terms of the first graph we've seen, the line graph, like there was a lot of stuff, right? A lot of fluff. And what I took care of is just like removing everything, because you don't want to see, when you're looking at data, like you don't want to see unnecessary stuff, right? So that's why, grid lines and kind of like the brightness or like the bright color, I just removed that because it's very unnecessary to see at the specific graph, right? So let's actually go to appearance, and there's when you hover radius, just do 3. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, it's just smaller. It's much better, right? So now we have revenue and cash collected. Let's actually focus on the rest, which would be booked calls, new leads, live calls, and closed deals, right? Also, another thing to mention, most because when you're designing a dashboard, you always have to look at the resolution of the screen, right, of the user, right? So usually the standard is that so when you hover over this group, which is this whole group, right? First off, let's make it align here. But the maximum width would be 1400 pixels minus the sidebar, right? But I'm not gonna bother. Let's just do 1400. Pretty big math, right? So if I was to take this and just like remove the max width, right, it would be like this. As you can see, it stops here, right? So if the resolution of the monitor is less than that, then it's going to display less than that. So just so you know, it's very big standard in terms of setting up the max width of a specific element or a group, right? Actually, I don't like how this is. It should be much bigger. So let's do the minimum height of 250, for example. 250, let's align this to the middle. And this should be much nicer. Maybe we're gonna know. Let's do 300. Let's do 300. Let's see what's that. Let's do 300. I believe that's gonna be fine. We'll see. The great thing is you can always experiment. You can always see what's happening. Good. I believe that's solid. So now let's focus on new leads, book calls, live calls, etc. So what I'm going to do here is when you go into plugins, you should download Google Material Icons. It's like a very big standard I use in every single application. Doesn't really matter what the what the software is. So let's just grab it here, Google Material Icon. For new leads, let's just do like waving person. Let me actually search what the icon is. So it's called apparently emoji person, which I'd like to do this, right? It's nice. What I want to just display is like, this is a new lead essentially. So yeah, let's do like 70, and let's make it obviously smaller. Let's make it 20 times 20, and let's group it because I want to do a small padding to make like a design nicer, right? 2, 2, and 2, and let's just give it like a flat background just so we see. Okay, something like this. That's nice. And roundness, let's just make it like 10. Oh no, that's too much. Let's make it 5. Nice. Let's actually see what that looks like with this color, right? So I would do this. Boom. Nice. Then we obviously grab some text, right? So let's just grab this text, paste it in here. Let's call it new leads, right? Let's grab another text, this one, and just make it like 314, and let's make it smaller. So this is 30, let's make it 25. Yes, good. Now let's group the new leads with this icon. Actually, here, group these two into a row. Remove main width, main height. Let's make sure this is actually centered, and this is just going to be like group new leads. Let's make the padding, the gap like 4 pixels. Yeah, I believe that's okay. Then we group these two, right? Column. Again, do this. Let's make sure this is centered. Let's create a gap, which would be like 12 pixels. That's too much. Let's do 8 pixels, right? And remove the width content. Let's actually center this as well. And let's make sure there's like, we'll obviously edit once I see how big is it. But let's do padding, and let's do, well, let's call it, this is going to be new leads, right? And let's just give it a background, which is going to be black as this one. And let's make this like roundness 10, right? Now simply copy paste 4, which is going to be booked calls. This is going to be booked calls. So let's just do calendar. It's going to be booked calls, and let's make it less. So let's make it 101. Let's make this live calls. For live calls, I mean, what icon would this represent? Probably like an eye, right? So an eye, and this is closed deals, which would be like shaking hands. So shake hands, right? And let's just make closed deals. Now what I don't like here is that it's not centered, right? So let's just make sure, what's the longest one? This is 98. So let's just make sure that every single group here is minimum of 100 pixels in width, right? Boom. Okay, what's wrong with this? I mean, actually, I believe when you're zoomed out, it gives you like a different. This is 102. This is actually 115. So 115. My bad. It's like when you're zoomed out, it like just gives you like a different size of the element. I have no idea why. So yeah, so we have booked calls, then we have live calls. Let's just do like 68, and let's do closed deals. Let's do just like 20, right? I don't know, something like that. Now let's group all of them. Put this in the column, right? Remove the main width. This, let's actually make this, and gaps 4, 6. Good. And as we can see here, so what I want to do is I want to take this whole group and put it in here, right? So let's just take this group, and put it in a row, right? It's gonna give you this, obviously. And what we need here is make sure it fits nicely, right? So the problem here is that this is bigger than expected. So let's just actually make this much smaller. This is 25. Let's just do like 20. Let's see what happens. Good. Let's actually set the gap, which would be 12. I think that's reasonable. And let's make it like this. This overall, this whole group should have like a maximum width of 200, let's say. And actually remove this width. And let's make sure this is like 300, right? Something like this, So when you, honestly, I wanna create like a bigger gap. Is it aligned? I believe everything should be aligned, right? So let's just look at it, how it looks. Right, obviously I could do much better job with this, for example, this is displaying. So what we could do here is just like add like a progress bar of a goal that you, for example, have. Same thing here. Let's just leave it for now as is, right? So yeah, I believe the top section is done. So what you're gonna do is just take the top section, just see where is it? Yeah, stats, top. That's what I usually do. Now let's do the middle section. So the middle section is going to be a table of closers and their performance, right? So what we have to do here is just take, this, put it in here, make it smaller, make it like 24, closer leaderboard. Let's call it close leaderboard. And then create like a table, right? So let's see what I want to have here. So I would like to have like the closer, right? Their name. Then I would like to have, how many calls they've taken, how many calls they were booked, and live calls, live. And then we have offers. How many times did they offer? How many closes? And then total collected, right? Right, so let's maybe do this. We'll see how much space we have, because I want to include also like the main metrics of the whole sales team, right? Show rate, offer to close, etc. So let's just group these into a row. Let's remove the min height as well as the min width, and let's just do this for now. Let's do it like this, because we're designing a table, and repeating group tables. I could use a table element, which I'm not going to do because I don't like it. It's buggy. So what I'm going to do is just create a repeating group and display the data there, right? So make last. So min width, again, just delete. And what do we want to do? How many those I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so let's just make 5. And something I forgot to mention or just showed you, I create like a data type and a couple of data, just like a dummy data for closer statistics, right? So closer statistics, we have, let me actually show you. So we have number of appointments, closes, deposits, live calls, offers, cash collected, kind of like the data around here. This doesn't really work. Yeah, don't worry about that, just like the main things, right? And then I want to display it in the repeating group. So let's just set this to like 5. You could obviously set like a minimum height of each row, but let's just not make it complicated. Let's just design it, right? So do a search for all of the closer statistics, right? It's everything we need. So what I'm going to do now is just take a group and paste it in here. So remove min width, min height, just fit with the content, and let's set. I'm probably not gonna do. Let's see if I want to do padding. Yeah, probably yeah. Let's do 10, 10, 10, and 10. It's like a standard. I always use it everywhere. So then let's grab this and just paste it in here, right? And let's change this to a row instead of a column, because it's a row. So name it card closer statistics, and let's make sure this is aligned. So closer, then we have calls, and actually we need to set of the card, so we need to set what's the type of content, which is closer stats, and current sales closer stats, right? So in this case it will be parents group closer stats closer name, which is another data type, right, in the database, right? So let's just say this is Vladimir, right? It's closer. So what would that be in terms of the width? Let's see, let's just change this. Well, no, this is too much. 16. Let's do white. Let's just take all of these all this text and just change the so that it's like clear what are the values and where the columns, right? Just delete this. So copy again, paste. So in this case, this is gonna be parents group closest daily statistics appointments, right? So this is gonna be, for example, 30. Then, well, obviously, again, let's make it clear for now. Do 12. After that, we'll again, make sure everything is nicely formatted, right? So we have calls. So this is 30. We have live calls. In this case, let's do parents group closers live calls. Let's make this to 20, just like a placeholder. Then we have offers, which is going to be parents group closer statistics offers, right? Let's make it 10. And closes, right? Parents group closes statistics closes. In this case, let's just make it 5, for example, right? And lastly, cash collected, which is going to be parents group closes statistics cash collected, formatted as currency, decimal place 0, thousand separator, like this. Well, actually, oh yeah, like this, thousand separator. This, and currency is going to be, let's say, dollars, right? 20,000. Now I want to point out one thing. So obviously in the database I have only 5 records, but this is representing 1 day for each closer, right? So if you were to do a search for within a certain range, it's going to give you, like, let's say, we have 5 closers, 30 days, that's 5 times 30, that's 150 records. What you would do then is take this repeating group and do a search for closer daily statistics, right? And then you would group them, group by, and depending on what you want to group them by, right? So for example, a closer, if you're doing graphs, you would group them by, like, let's say, like a week number, right? It just like really depends what's the use case. But in this case, there's only 5 of them. There's only 5 of those records, so each record just represents 1 closer. So let's actually look at what is the. Let's remove the fit width to content for every single one of them. And what do we do here? So this is, well, actually, again, let's make this 100. This is 170. I would say 150 is going to be the maximum. Let's do 130. Right, so the same thing here. Let's do 130. Just remove this, right? So let's do 130 here as well, just so that it matches, you know, the pixel with the table. And with this, you know, I don't really think that's gonna be too much, so let's just do 60. 60, right? So for numbers, let's do 60. So this is gonna be 60. 60. For cash collected, let's just make this like, well, 130 probably as well. Maybe 115. Again, we'll see. 115. Right, and now this is what that looks like, but I want to make sure. So let's do this. So let's make it like from each other. Same thing here, and we'll dictate what's happening. Actually, remove this and this. Let's dictate what's supposed to be happening by the maximum width of the whole group, right? So that's actually, I believe everything is set up. So let's just take this, and group it to a column. Again, it's gonna give you this, right? But remove this as well, and apply gap spacing 12, I guess. However, I want this to be close, so I group them as well. Let's say, like, let's make it as a table, right? And let's make sure this is like only 6, for example. Or no, let's not make anything like that. But for this group, so for, I guess, like a heading of the table, let's make the padding, you know, bottom, let's do 4, and let's actually set some background, well, like border, right? But let me actually put the right colors in there, and then we can kind of see how that looks like, right? So we have closer, and also here we need to set the padding so that it matches the repeating group, right? So it would be 10, this would be 4, 10, 10, and honestly we don't need the top one, right? So now everything matches the table, right? It should. It should. So min height, let's just remove this. No, actually that was a mistake, sorry. Move this. What I definitely want to remove or change is the separators. Let's make those separators like 15 opacity. You'll see when we change it to the black background what that's gonna do. But the border 100% none. So let's just change the background color to black. Let's make this to 10. And let's set 10, 10, 10, 10. This should be much smaller in my opinion. Right? Let's just see, let's just experiment. So border, like I said for the heading, let's do define each border, let's do bottom one. Let's make it like this. So now, as you can see, it's pretty, I guess, visible, right? So I just want to make it like minimalistic. 20, that's too little. Let's do 60. Let's see, yeah, that's probably much better. However, even though like it's a table, it's close to each other. So let's actually set the row gap before at least. Nice. Ah, 6. Now that looks better, right? Also, I would like to maybe include like emoji. Let's see if I can. Okay, emoji. Right. Awesome. So now that we have, I guess, the table set up, Again, you can do whatever you want. This is just like an example, but let's set this. So this is 790. Let's just do 750 for now, what we're gonna see. And then I want to display the show rate, off rate. I want to display like the main numbers and maybe put a graph behind it, like a small one. It doesn't like necessarily tell you the right data, like the detailed data, but it tells you exactly what you need to see in terms of where to look with your sales team, right? So let's change this to closer leaderboard, right? And then let's start with the rest. So let's show rate percentage. Show rate percentage. Let's actually grab this. Let's make it 20. Now let's make this like 78%. 78%. And then I would like to grab this graph, line graph, and actually take this color, put it in here, minus this, and yeah, it doesn't, like, you could set whatever you want, 4, 5, 6, 7, just, I'm gonna put some static values, right? And we want to see the show rate, so let's say 65, 76, 88, 66, so that's 4, 71, 5, 6, 7, right? And just make this 65 as it's in the graph. Right now we want to completely get rid of anything that, like, you know, a zero line, everything. We don't want to see any of that. We just want to see the graph. 0, show, no. Everything should be hidden. No. Line width, point radius 0, point hover 0, line curve 3, yeah, whatever. Now I want to take this and this, group it in a row, which again is going to do that. Let's make this centered. Let's make a gap of 4. It's gonna be very small, right? I just want to see, and let's change it actually. Line chart, show rate. Do we have like a specific layout? No, nothing like that. So if I was to do, this is 150, if I was to do like 80, why doesn't it? What's the problem here? Minimum height of 40. That's too little. Minimum height of 680. Okay, great. Let's do fit to content, and let's make this like 150 minimum, right? Just group them together. Column, let's make this centered again. Create a gap of, well, let's say 8, right? Then set some padding, which is going to be 10, 10, 10, 10. Remove min width. And set a background, again, just black color. Make this. And boom. I'm actually very curious of what that's going to look like. Right, something like that. I believe we should remove the chart padding. Right, and I believe it starts, so the minimum, just remove the minimum, and if that's not gonna work, because like it's very high, and I just want to start it like exactly something like that. It's not the best, right, but I think that's gonna do for now, at least. Right, so let's just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. It's gonna be offer percentage, and then we have offer to close, and then we have close rate percentage. Just change them. I'm not going to change the graphs, just the numbers. 23%, Offer to close, let's do like 51%. And offer rate, let's do 79%, something like that. Let's group those into a row. So it's gonna be like the top. This 6, 6. Actually, what is here? This is 8, so let's make it 8. Let's make it consistent everywhere. And here we have 12, so let's just make it 8 as well, top. And now group these, row, 8, 8, and then group these. Let's make it 8, right? So now we take this whole group. Actually, let's name it like key sales metrics, something like that. Key sales metrics. And what I want to do is name each and every one of them, because we're going to make some changes. Group metrics top, group metrics bottom, then go into here, show rate, offer percentage, offer to close percentage, close rate percentage. Just so we know exactly when I look at the tree. So I just take this whole group and yeah, let's group it with this one. Again, it's giving us something ridiculous. It doesn't matter. Make it 80. So like this, boom. So again, consistency, right? 8 gap. And what happens here is that everything is like fitting, fit with. So let's do this. And what we have to do here is just make sure everything kind of like fills out the space, right? Same thing with this. This in the middle. Same thing here. And let's see, where is the problem? The problem here is this, right? So now it is consistent. What I need to do though is just make everything centered. And probably, yeah, centered like that. Again, I'm not really sure how that's gonna look like. But let's just see. You see? So nice. Again, here is a maximum width. If I was to remove that, right, and make sure this is, let's actually do again 100%. This is 350, so let's just make it like maximum 350. Then do this, right, something like that. And here, if I wanted to add, other metrics such as, so we have obviously book calls, then it would be good to, and then live calls, then it would be good to have like show rate, then offers, then offer rate, then closes, then close rate, right? It really depends on what you want to see, but let's just make it very simple. I don't want to, let's make this also aligned in the center so that it looks better. Just like a tutorial on how to actually show you guys what I do and how I do it. So yeah, I believe the sales side, the middle side is done. Should I make this aligned? Let's do like left padding 10. That's good. Now, the last thing, which is marketing. So as we're talking about, I want to see a line graph with the ad spend and the revenue, and then like key metrics, something like that, plus seeing the top lead source by closes. So actually, let's just grab this, right? Copy and paste it in here. Just delete this whole thing. And yeah, this is pretty much almost done. What I do need to do is let's do a line chart and name it ad spent versus revenue versus cash collected, something like that. Right, and at the top, what I like to do is like the same print, like almost the same thing. Put it in here, and instead of row, this is going to be a column, and just paste it in here, right? So this is going to be ad spend, this is going to be revenue, and this is going to be cash collected. So cash collected, just grab those colors, and ad spend, what do we want to see as a yeah, let's do like purple. Right, and now let's just group those. Row, boom, boom, boom. And let's actually make fit width with every single one of them. Fit width, set the gap to 12. 24, better. And let's actually move these dots to the right side, to the left side. And now the last thing, just center it. I mean, center it, we'll see how that looks like, right? And the whole thing just put above. So in this case, it would show revenue, cash collected, and ad spend. So let's just make it in the graph, and the ad spend is going to be, so just copy, and series 3, this would be ad spend. It's gonna be line. Where is the color? Right here, boom. And then, so what, we have seven weeks. So like, let's make sure this is what this is. 5,000, 6,000, 8,000, 6,500, 7,000, which is what this is. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7, 500, 8,000. I don't know. I'm just coming up with numbers just to show you what that would look like, right? So let's see. Boom. Boom. So yeah, I don't know why that's so far from it. Let me actually see. I believe let's do start. I want to see like what's the problem here. Vertical offset, let's do 0. No. No. I just want to like understand why there is like a gap. If I do 0, let's just see. That's probably the reason. No. Okay, we'll look at the after pop. We know there's a problem. Good. So now, like I said, I want to look at the marketing spend, CPA, and ROAS on cash, and the same thing there, right? So honestly, just copy paste. Let's do the same thing. Nothing complicated. Marketing spend, or like just make everything same. Ad spend. Make this into money. Right, then we have CPA, cost per acquisition. Let's do money again. CPA. Cash, ROAS. Revenue, ROAS. Revenue, ROAS. Let's make it 2.1x, 2.5x. I don't know, just coming up with numbers just so you see. What I would like to know is the layout. If we do cost per acquisition, just to CPA. Yeah, so with this, I just want to make it aligned, just so you know why I'm kind of nitpicking. So this is 130, so let's just do like 130 here. Let's make it align right this. And right here, if I was to delete this, this is what now? This is now 95, so let's do the same thing here. 95. Right, much better. Much better. Now the ad cost or ad spend would be 31,000, just throwing up their numbers. And again, when you're designing a dashboard, it's always good to communicate with the person, right, who's gonna look at the data. So, you know, max like 31,000 for what? Once I build the filter, and if you communicate it clearly, you know, everything that is displayed on the dashboard in terms of numbers is displaying the date range, right? For example, or you could do just, you know, few filters, last 7 days, last 30 days, last 60 days. It just really depends on what you want to build and how exactly you want to build it, right? So let me just... Oh yeah, it's below. It's below here. So CPA, let's just do, I don't know, cost per acquisition, let's just do $250, something like that. Then group these two, right? So the same thing as here above. Group these two into a row. It's gonna give you this, right? Obviously. Oh. Boom. Boom. But this, in this case, I would make it 250. Because I want to see also displayment of the table of the the best performing lead sources. So I believe this should be even smaller, 200. And maybe no. It's actually, I believe, if we delete this, this, and this, and let's just make it like everything, let's make everything fit with. It's gonna be much nicer, in my opinion. This is, you know, 8, and last one, we have, let's actually, right here, let's just do like 8. The last one, I just like a small table displaying the best performing lead sources. So yeah, what do we do here? Let me actually grab this, right? And just continue on. Let's continue on. So this is gonna be top lead sources, or lead source leaderboard. 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 Let's delete this. Right. Actually, let's make some space. I don't want to see this. Let's make some space. And what I want to do again is just display lead sources. I believe I don't have dummy data for lead source performance, but again, you would do probably the same thing with closer statistics. So there will be like a separate data type called lead source daily statistics. And if you have obviously more than one for each lead source, then you would have to group them, right? And then based on the number of closes. So once you group them, you can make sums and averages and a bunch of other stuff. So you would do a sum of closes and then sort the grouping by closes, right? So yeah, let me actually, so how do we make this nice? So let's just grab the closer. Let's name it lead source. Closes. Just do like index, which is gonna make sense in a bit. Let's make it into a row. Again, same thing here. Right, this should be the first one, so this is gonna be an index, or like the order of the table. If I was to do 1, it's gonna be like this, and fit width, then let's make this like this, and we see this is 10 pixels. So what I want to know, I want to make sure that it's gonna be 15 at least, right? Right, and close this. We had 60, so let's just do the same thing here. 60, and let's make the gap of 8 for now. Actually make it like this. You'll see why in a bit. Actually, let me just copy this, like, because we're already, you know, more than 1 hour in this tutorial, so let's make it quicker. So this is gonna be the index. Well, first off, we have to get rid of this. All right, let me just do it like static without any repeating group. Without any repeating group. And then lead source name 1. Lead source name 1, and closes would be, you know, would be 10 or like 15, whatever. Now delete this, delete this, delete this. Doc, awesome. Now this group has to kind of align with this one, right? So let's just set the, and this is probably like this is the same thing with this, right? So let's just make it on the right and left 10 and 10, and this was 6, padding at the bottom, so 6. And what did we have here as a border? 60. So if I do this solid and do 60, that's gonna work. And right here, I don't want to display it, right? It's just like there. Let's just do 0. Awesome. So now let me just create a bunch of those. Do 4 of them. We'll see how that kind of plays into it together. But if it was repeating group, then obviously you would have to design it only once. Let's do this, this, and yeah, let's take that again. Group it as a table, essentially. I don't know what happened here, but let's just go back and back. So what I need is take this, do a column, boom. Nice. And lastly, just take this whole group and make this into another group, right? Groups here and there. So, and let's make the row 8 as well. Now I want to make this the background, right? Let's make this like black again, 10, and let's make sure that there is a padding everywhere. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Right? Good. And now we want to display the group I've hidden, which is this one. Just group them in. Boom. Make this last one. this overall, this is 445. Let's just make it 300. Right? And now you have to play with it. Like, you know, how do you want to see it? So this is too big, for example, right? So let me just, this is like too big. Let's make this into like 14. Right? This should be 12. Same thing with here. 12. And just paste it in a bunch of other, right? So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6. So we got 15, let's do 12, 10, and 9, 7, and 2, right? This is like, again, very basic example of what, you know, the dashboard or the table would look like. So if we hop into this, it's not visible by default, so let me fix that. And again, there is some maximum width, right? So if I delete that, what I don't like here is like how everything is close. Okay. So yeah, I believe we're done. Right, so guys, this is everything. Obviously I was going off the rip, but when we're doing, you know, work for clients, we have to really map out everything, and just, you know, take more time to actually design it, right? I believe this just like communicates the main numbers you want to see, but other than that, this is what it should look like. So always identify what you want to look at, what you want to solve, and make sure there's not too much fluff when it comes to, you know, looking at the dashboard. Obviously there's many things, right? So like we could obviously make this maybe brighter. This is not at the 0, so that is a problem, right? And just like looking at exactly what's happening, you could also do like when you hover over something, it's going to change the colors. You can add in this table like more stats if you wanted to, and stuff like that. So yeah, guys, this is everything for me. If you run a high-ticket coaching offer or agency service and you need to scale with data, book a call below. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Those, you know, who develop in Bubble, hopefully this was insightful. And for those, you know, who want to have a tracking system like this, hit me up. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you. Bye.